Authors Mark Cornelius and Traci Loecker share their experiences exploring methods for illuminating a storyline to maximize the writer reader relationship. Writers Wrestling invites you to join in on a conversation not about what to write, but about how to write. Well, Traci Loecker, hi.
Hi, Mark.
And yes, I am Mark. Thank you for that. Mark Cornelius and Traci Loecker here. We are um, wrestlers, writing wrestlers. Not to get those two mixed up again, but we are having fun with this and we are diving into some of the things that we run into with our writing. And especially today, we're going to be talking, Traci, about more obstacles. But before we do that, we need to give a shout out, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And that would be to Mr. Cameron, who,
Camden.
yes,
Camden Buck.
Camden. I am so sorry, Camden.
Yeah, that's
Yes, it
okay.
is. My mouth is getting all tangled up today, so if I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, excuse me.
Okay.
But Camden, that was a very, very welcome and refreshing critique of what we do, and thank you for that. And for all of you, if you want to give us information or suggestions or critique, whatever you want to do, we'd love to hear from you. And
We're,
at the end of our episodes every time, there is contact information. So we'd love to hear from you, right?
yep, we sure would.
And that's not an obstacle. You can contact us anytime you want to. But there are other things that we didn't cover on the last show that I think we need to this time. So, Traci, is there something in particular other than what we talked about last week that gets in your way when you're writing?
Well, I think we just need to remember that we may have obstacles, but we don't want them to become our excuses. So
Ooh,
I have a tendency to do that. And so if you have a situation, for example, where maybe you don't know if if you're in a spot where your computer will save. Maybe you don't have internet, or you're using some sort of formatting which requires internet. And so then you're thinking, well, what can I do? I have nothing to do. Then you grab out the notepad and your pencil and you start doing it the old-fashioned way and start writing. Just there's things that we can, do. And I think we mentioned this last time too, but just don't get set in your ways. Be prepared to think out of the box if you have to. So,
yeah, including recording your
right,
own voice when you're
right.
doing that. I mean, that's a very important thing. Or when your alarm goes off in the middle of a session. There we go. You know, these things happen, right? Um, I'm going to talk about another one though, and this one is for all of you out there who want to give voice to your writing, and you are at least a portion of you says, "I want to share this with others," right?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm one. How about you, Traci?
Yeah,
I want to share. I,
yeah.
I love that, and I love to get people's input and impact on, or the impact that my writing gives. But what if they don't like it?
Tough.
Do you
Move on,
stop?
move on to the next person. I'm kidding.
Right. Well, I mean, it's one thing if they have a few cool suggestions for you, like
Right.
you need to use different a different word here or there, or I'm just not getting the setting you're talking about, or I'm not drawn in.
Hmm.
But if somebody just says, I don't like your writing, I think you're full of some kind of substance,
Hmm.
whatever. Um, how do you deal with that? And or do you deal with it? Are there going to be people who don't like your writing?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because there are books that I read that I don't necessarily like. And there are books that I read that I do like. And there's books that I like reading for different reasons than other reasons why I like reading books. You know what I mean? Like if it's because I want to learn more about something, then I'll want to read this book. But if it's because I just want to get lost and go to a different world, then I might want to read this book. So,
Yes. As a matter of fact, I have some friends, and we will do the same thing with movies. We will
mhm,
pick an absolute a wretched movie. I mean, and I'm not talking about R or X rated. I'm talking about just poorly produced,
right,
poorly, in my opinion, obviously,
right,
low budget, and watch it and go, oh my word,
yeah,
how in the world did they get away with that?
right, right,
And the same thing with writing. There are times when, my writing just won't be to the taste of others. And
right,
I'll say things that may even offend others. But I will say this, if we do let that get to us, that's just another excuse not to write, and that
right.
shouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
Yeah. So, and fair enough, let's put it this way. If they were to meet you, Tracy, and know what a wonderful person you are, that's what they need to know, not whether they like or dislike your writing.
right, right. And I think too that we have to understand that kind of like what we talked about, understand your audience too on, you critiquing my work is a lot different than, say, my daughter critiquing my work.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And although Taylor does a great job of giving me her honest opinion and just telling me how it is, you, on the other hand, could give me more of the technical side of the writing, so
And yeah, and I mean, we've covered that a lot. Is that there are different reasons to get a critique from people, the healthy
mhm.
reasons. Uh, what what we're talking about right now is just somebody just flat doesn't like your writing. Okay,
Right,
great.
right,
I'm sure there are other books out there that'll cater to you, but
yeah,
um, just don't use any of this as an excuse.
right,
And another one that I hear a lot of is I'm a terrible speller,
hmm,
or I just can't put two words together in the right way, it
right,
seems. And I will give you an example. There was, I'm trying to remember his name. He was a poet, and he wrote everything in lowercase letters, and he had this style about him that was just so odd, and he'd throw
mhm.
letters together. He said, well, I'm dyslexic. I don't know how else to do it.
Oh,
And he
interesting.
became one of the most famous poets of his time. I
Wow.
can't draw his name up right now, and but I remember reading some of his stuff and thinking, that's pretty cool stuff actually if you read it
Mhm.
and you get a taste. So don't limit yourself or don't create an obstacle by saying I don't have the grammatical skills or I don't have the descriptive skills. There are all sorts of ways you can write or for that matter any art.
Right,
uh,
right.
I happen to know a
Yeah.
painter. His name was Van Gogh. And do not, I do not get Van Gogh. I, I do not understand him. That doesn't seem to matter.
Right, right. Perfect example of how, that might not be our taste, but didn't stop him. I mean,
Yes, yes,
well,
exactly.
mm,
So, when you think of that for yourselves out there, we're all, if we are true to our craft, we want to put out the best that we can.
yeah,
And that's great. Um, the best what? That's the definition you need to come up with.
right,
If your stories are um, about something that doesn't require hard grammatical essence, Now, sure, you're going to send that into an editor someday if you ever want to get it written. They're going to go, well, you need to change this and that and this. That's highly intimidating. Highly to me, because I do happen to be dyslexic at a point, and I do happen to use word choices sometimes, or even component choices, which people
Hmm.
say that's not according to the laws of literacy.
Right.
And I say, you know, it's the way I want to portray it.
Yeah.
It's part of my character's character.
Right. Right.
And so that's a huge thing. Have the confidence to write it out.
Yeah.
And then you may want to find somebody to help you if you say you're uncomfortable with what you've just written. There are people out there who will help you shape and adjust your craft.
Yeah.
So, boy, that deletes 99% of the population from writing, I think. They just say,
Yeah. I
I
think you're
can't
right.
write because I don't write as well as Traci Loecker, you know?
Right. 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 Or they look at a book like they look at a book and think, oh, this is going to be so easy. And the first minute where they're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what storyline to move into or what chapter,
Right.
where to go, then you give up. No, don't give up. Just keep writing. It's going to come to you, So,
Oh, that's another great thank you. Fluidity of the story because you say, well, I got this part of the story down, but now where do I go?
yeah.
And that's an obstacle. People ask me how I write a whole book. How do I
Mm-hmm.
get through that? And I say, I start with a skeleton,
Yep.
just like on the body,
Yep.
and it's a crazy looking thing. It's got bones sticking
Yeah.
out everywhere,
Yeah.
and it takes me a while to put flesh on it. But of all things, I try personally, I'll write the beginning of the book and get it started, and then I go right to the end of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I,
Interesting.
I, I like to write at least what I think is, where the, the story will end up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start putting all the different components into it. Ironically, a lot of times I start doing that, and then at the end of the book, I say, I don't like the ending I came up with at first. I need to do something else. But it
Mm-hmm.
gave me a place to aim for.
Yep.
And
Yep.
6 Clicks was that way. It took me forever to get that book done
Okay.
because I just did not like the ending. I just did not like where I was going with it.
Mm-hmm.
But after I got started with everything else, it worked itself out.
Yep. Yeah. And I feel like it does work itself out. But it's not going to work itself out if you leave it in the drawer. Don't bring it out. Don't. So I know a lot of people who have started
Yeah,
manuscript or started and it's just not finished. And it's like, just finish it. So
exactly. And people say, "Well, I'll put it down and I'll come back to it." No, you won't.
yeah.
You know,
Right.
you won't because I've seen it happen to me. I have several
Mhm.
unfinished stories that I said I'll get back to that, and it didn't inspire me. But what it inspired me to do was pick up the pen and write something else.
Right. Right.
You know, so well, I think that's all the obstacles I can handle today.
Right. We've actually encountered some obstacles today,
Yes, we did
aside
with
from writing.
media, but and that's another side of it, your craft may be a different art altogether, and you may come up with just walls and all sorts of obstacles that just interfere, and you say, "Well, I'm gonna quit." Don't, don't do
Right.
it.
Don't do
Don't
it.
let it get the best of you because there, the reason you started in the first place was because there was some passion there, some curiosity in your brain, in your heart that you wanted to let out. Fight for your images.
Right for your images. Yeah. Love it. I think we should end it there.
I think you just told the yes. So, thank you, folks, and we will see you and hopefully hear from you as well. Thanks for coming to Writers Wrestling.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining Writers Wrestling. Feel free to communicate with us with questions, reactions, and suggestions. You can also visit our websites for more information.